Welcome to Caleb Can't Read. I'm Jordan Rabel.
And I'm Caleb Terrence.
And we would just like to say thank you to everyone who has been with us so far. The Spotify Wrapped thing had just happened, so some people have been sending us that we were in their top 5 podcasts, and you know what? Thank you.
To that one guy in Idaho, just keep
It was Ohio, I think.
Ohio?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry,
first
guy
listener,
in Ohio.
and the only dude being listed was just one dude in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Thanks. And I have a feeling that this is probably going to be an episode that a lot of people start with. Because when I was doing research, there's not a whole lot out there, so this is everything just kind of uniformly in the same place. So let me just throw this out here to anyone who might be new to our podcast. First of all, thank you. Welcome. Caleb, any words?
Oh.
Okay. You can see our sources on the Facebook sources page. You can visit us at calebcan'tread.com, or you could go on Instagram, Caleb Can't Read account. We share some pictures from people's lives.
As far as sources go, though, I mean, just keep in mind this is Jordan's doing his best here, but this is not.
I'm doing my best.
This is not a solid source of information.
And actually, that's my opening paragraph on this too, especially this subject too, which I did tell you about before, but. Usually going into it, Caleb's completely blind on this, but I did give him a little forewarning because this is, I think, your favorite author?
See.
Okay, yeah, he's mine too. So,
yeah, it's not because of the N-bombs.
Nope. As a matter of fact,
there's going to be a lot.
No. When I read through it, there wasn't any N-bombs. I'm pretty sure I looked for quotes that had nothing to do with that.
Okay. But yeah, this guy just... Whew.
Yeah, no, well, that's what you get when you do period fiction, I guess.
This guy would make...
Also just setting fiction, because some of them were just from the same time period as he was, just in the South.
This guy would make Quentin Tarantino be like, hey, man, why don't you calm down
you need to
with the
dial
slurs
it down a little bit.
A little bit there. But, however, to balance that out, not creepy in defeat. Please tell me he's not in defeat. That we know of.
There's not a whole lot of information, Caleb.
I'm going to leave it up to your his sexuality. Okay, that's good because I don't want to fucking know.
Yeah, it's true. Actually, I just don't want to know.
I don't really want to know.
I really don't like knowing about anybody's sexual fetishes in general, especially celebrities.
I'm really hoping that we can leave this episode without me having to give some bullshit excuse about separating the art from the artist. I'm really fucking hoping that right now.
I'll tell you this much: he's lazy.
Because I haven't read
what that's about.
I haven't read everything he's done, but oh my god, the stuff I have is it's really good. But it seems needlessly edgy sometimes.
Yeah. But you got to remember, just like Dark Knight Returns and Watchmen being edgy, they were edgy for the time because they were the ones who brought the edge, in much the same way Cormac McCarthy has.
Yeah, but it's still fucking edgy though.
Yeah, when you look back at it and you're like, oh man, why was he so edgy and post-emo 2009, it's like, oh, well, that's why.
Okay. Wait, why don't we...
But I will say this much, for anyone who is joining us for the first time, we don't have a set schedule. So, hey, I would say join us weekly or even bi-weekly, but we flubbed that up at this point, so whatever.
There's no set schedule or anything, so like we say in the...
We have lives, too. It's
the
fine.
Intro thing, just pick an episode, pick a writer, and go. You definitely don't have to start from... because the further back you go, the worse it gets.
Yeah, not quality. Well, sound quality-wise.
No, I mean, even just generally in content as well. I don't believe I was very coherent for about the first 15.
Not coherent now. I
I'm
don't think
pretty
15
fucking
minutes
coherent.
later from now, you're not going to remember what the fuck was said.
I am a quarter of the way down to Modelo. I will be fine. Jesus.
You had the day off. I don't believe that you didn't pregame this at 9.
I didn't pregame it. I can't drink and drive. I have a CDL. I'll lose everything.
Wink. Yeah. Same,
no, I can't do that.
Yeah, I know. Me too. Oh, wink. There was one other thing. What the hell was I going to say? Oh, yeah. This episode would have come a lot sooner, but we were setting up for episode 69, so we had to do Philip K. Dick, Emily Dickinson, and Charles Dickens.
Which I still disagree with.
It was just all Dick going up to it. So
okay.
This is,
Are you that pleased with doing that you had to mention it again?
I just wanted to say, I wrote this up as soon as he died, and I was, ready to go, but it was like, oh, we're in the middle of dick jokes. I can't have it yet. So, anyway, hey, welcome to Season 6, I think. Everybody?
Season?
Yeah. It's 10 authors per season.
Oh, okay.
Ah,
you should have done for Season 6?
Huh?
Season dicks. It should have been all dick names.
Fuck!
That would have been way better than a 3 lead up to. Why 3?
So then in the beginning of episode 69, I could say it was nothing but dick, dick, dick leading up to this point.
Should have been Season of Dicks. Should have been Season Dicks.
Yeah, they should. You know what they should have named Game of Thrones? Game of Dicks.
Yeah.
A Song of Fire and Dicks.
Actually,
anyway,
you know what? There should have been there needs to be in things that I'm getting way off topic here. Mm-hmm. This is the last thing I'll do. There needs to be more fucking. I want to start seeing full boner in cinema, man. In mainstream cinema, I want to see it.
I have an old Spanish horror film called Arabeto that is amazing, but for whatever reason, they have a time lapse of a dick getting hard. Out of nowhere. Whoa. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it was scary.
Yeah, no.
It's like, oh, this is a horror movie.
No, because I get you, man. You round a fucking corner on a flaccid penis, you're like, oh, ha, 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 ha. But a boner is an expression of intent.
Yeah.
And that's frightening.
No. It's your flight or fuck response. That's all.
No, it's...
Well, anyway.
You have a flight or fuck response with boners?
Yeah, when a ghost shows up and you get horny. I don't know. Anyway. So speaking of people's kinks... now, I want you to understand how this episode and the next are going to go. All right? Cormac McCarthy was a very secretive man. So are his kids.
You didn't even announce that we were doing Cormac McCarthy until this point.
Yeah, correct.
That's a terrible way to announce it.
Hey, everyone, here's Cormac McCarthy. Anyway, so he was a very secretive man.
I'm just saying you talked like people fucking knew.
You clicked on an episode.
Yeah,
it's different from you. Yeah.
Okay, my bad.
So anyway, he's a very secretive guy, and so are his kids, and so are his ex-wives. When I saw how little information there was online, I went searching for interviews. Guess how many he'd done?
I mean, 1 or 2?
4.
Okay.
In 60 years of writing? 4. So I went looking for a biography. Guess how many there are? 0. So while we will go over what I and the entire world apparently knows about Cormac McCarthy, these episodes will largely be focused on celebrating his work. Because while most authors we cover are sensational in their lives, I feel it's important to understand just how fucking good this man's work was. Charles Joseph McCarthy Jr. was born July 20th, 1933 in Providence, Rhode Island, to Charles Sr. and his wife Gladys. His parents were Irish Catholic, so fittingly, the young Charles was one of 6 kids. When he was around 4 years old, his family moved to Knoxville, Tennessee, where his father worked as a lawyer for the newly formed Tennessee Valley Authority, which helped the state get back on its feet during FDR's New Deal. As such, the McCarthys lived quite lavishly, while the rest of the town was suffering from the Great Depression. Quote, "We were considered rich because all the people around us were living in 1 or 2 room shacks." Charles was to be an upstanding citizen in his parents' eyes, making him a student at St. Mary's Parochial School and an altar boy for the Church of the Immaculate Conception. But all this did was bore Charles so bad that all he wanted to do was anything but go to church or school.
Yeah, boredom's not the worst thing that can happen to you in that position.
I'm an altar boy.
I feel like somebody could use a little bit of perspective there and be grateful.
Well, instead, he began concentrating on several different hobbies, with a primary focus on art. When he turned 18 in 1951, Charles attended the liberal arts program at the University of Tennessee. But it was just a general degree, as he had no idea what path to actually go down. He said he finally sought writing specifically after a professor had him take 18th century essays and rewrite them to sound like they were written today. Actually sounds like a punishment, but I guess he was into it.
That's, yeah, that definitely sounds like a punishment or special interest, if you will.
Yeah, no.
Write that down.
I guess he took this in college.
Touched by the tism a wee bit there, if he enjoyed that.
Okay, you know what? I'm not going to get into it, but some things make me feel like I've heard Cormac McCarthy quotes that were exactly made by Dan.
I mean, we got
it was like,
yeah.
I don't know. I was like, oh, those aren't, it's not regular sayings like, oh, the fridge is open. It's like, oh, I'll survive off of beans and toast for the rest of my life, and I'm okay with that.
He did also do an entire Wild West book. Anybody that likes the Wild West that much is pretty suspect there for the spectrum. It's up there with Trains, man. It's up there with Trains.
No, I was gonna say, they caught him dead in front of his gaming rig, just playing Power Washing Simulator. However, just 2 years into his degree, Charles McCarthy left college to join the Air Force. We're not exactly sure why, but my theory is that he didn't know the Korean War was going to end in July of that year, so he just missed the boat. Instead, he ended up bored and alone. Before, he would occupy his time with a multitude of hobbies, anything to make sure he wouldn't have time to study for school or go to church. And for all the things he did to keep busy, none of them was actually reading or writing. He made it seem like it never really crossed his mind before. But now, he was stationed in Alaska with little to fuck all to do. Said this was the first time he actually picked up a book. And over the course of the next 4 years, while doing absolutely nothing in the Air Force, Charles read and read and read. When he returned to the University of Tennessee in 1957 at the age of 24, he switched his major to English. It's here that he would take his first endeavor into creative writing. However, it would still take him 2 years to actually finish the work. The 2 short stories he wrote were Wake for Susan in the fall of 1959 and A Drowning Incident in 1960. As it would turn out, taking his sweet-ass time to publish anything is something McCarthy would be well known for in his later career. But his sluggish pace would pay off, as McCarthy would win the Ingram Merrill Award for both of these stories. It's a prestigious little award that not many can claim, but most importantly, it pays. And perhaps it was here that McCarthy learned, if you win prizes, you don't have to work a day job. After the success of just his first story, Wake for Susan, McCarthy would decide to drop out of college altogether and focus on writing full-time. You had a similar story, don't you?
Yeah, but in middle school.
What's your career going to be? I'm going to change oil.
I don't know, man. I'll figure it out. Like, God.
Now, Charlie McCarthy had one little issue when it came to writing, and that was his name. As much as he wanted to write Charles McCarthy at the bottom of the page, his first 2 stories were penned as C.J. McCarthy Jr. And the reason behind this is that back in the 1950s, there was a popular show called the New Edgar Bergen Hour that featured this creepy goddamn ventriloquist dummy named Charlie McCarthy. This thing had been around since 1930 and would continue its career all the way up until its final appearance in the Muppet movie in 1978.
Wait, holy shit.
Yeah, before the performer behind the puppet died.
I need you to pump the brakes right there because that is a Muppet that I didn't know about.
Well, he's not technically a Muppet, but he was, in the movie. I want to say he was a...
honorary Muppet?
Yeah, he's a guest, Mm-hmm. That's all.
All right. Well, I kind of want to pause and look at him.
By all means, because he's a looker.
Let's fucking do it. Okay, yeah, we have just discovered the basis for every single horror movie dummy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Dead Silence, the Goosebumps dummy. Yeah, that's Charlie McCarthy.
That's Charlie McCarthy. Pretty fucking weird looking. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. I wouldn't want to be associated with that either.
No, I mean, the way that he looks, too, I almost want to say that he's based off of, like, some sort of racist stereotype, but I don't know what, because he's white, so I don't know. Is he Irish? Oh, probably. Charlie McCarthy.
It's just a cartoon. No.
Yeah.
If it's about white people, it's just a cartoon. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
Those are the rules. It's fine, and I agree with him.
So Charlie wanted...
He's got big rosy cheeks.
So?
Like, he's smiling.
So?
I want to punch him.
Not all the time, though, right? Like, as a friend?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
So Charlie wanted anything but to be associated with that fucking creature. Instead, he leaned on a nickname he'd heard his Irish aunts call his dad, Cormac. And it was here that the world would forever know him as Cormac McCarthy.
Did you ever legally change it, or does that matter?
I don't fucking know, actually. Most of us, like, we just don't know anything about him. Okay. So he probably not. Now, during his transition from student to writer, Cormac McCarthy had married another student named Lee Holman and moved to Chicago, where McCarthy worked as a part-time mechanic.
He's married now?
Yep. Oh. I think so, like 20s, maybe? Uh-huh. But soon they found themselves back in Tennessee by 1961, in a place McCarthy described as, quote, a shack with no heat and running water in the foothills of the Smoky Mountains outside of Knoxville. You can also relate
happy
to
about
that. He is fucking content. Like, he's fine.
See, now that sounds wonderful to me. However, I don't know if I could find a woman that would share that opinion.
He doesn't either.
I feel like
Yeah. Regardless of their conditions, the couple would have a son a year later in 1962 named Colin.
Damn. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Cormac McCarthy. Whoa. He named his son Colin.
Colin. Yeah.
Wait, Colin?
Cullen. Not Colin. I know. We had this really dicky manager named Colin, and it was so hard not to call him Colin.
Yeah, for any other listeners like me out there, Cormac McCarthy, a fellow floor sleeper, with just one TV in the corner of the room with your PS4, not 5.
Gotta rock with some moss on it for keeping my head warm. Yeah,
with just Bloodborne on it. Mm-hmm. There's no heating in there.
There's no need for anything else. I mean, it's fine.
There are far more beer cans than pieces of furniture.
Man, I remember after you transitioning places were with me and my wife for 2 months or a month and a half or whatever.
It was like a month and a half.
Yeah, but I remember coming in there after you'd left and I'm like, oh, here we go. Hazmat suit on and just a shovel and just peeling the blankets off the floor.
Oh God, his nest.
It was like bird nest soup, man. It was gross. No, well, most people probably wouldn't know his name today. James Agee was a respected writer back in the 1950s. He was a screenwriter for movies like The African Queen starring Humphrey Bogart and The Night of the Hunter with Lillian Gish. His autobiography, A Death in the Family, would even go on to win him a posthumous Pulitzer in 1958.
Is it still Cormac McCarthy? Or are we talking
this
about
is this is just some dude. No,
okay.
This is James Agee.
Okay,
no, we're not talking about his newborn son. He didn't write shit.
I was like, that was a jump. So James Agee, okay.
Yeah, but like any good screenwriter from the 50s, James was a terrible chain smoker and alcoholic. And he would die from a sudden heart attack in 1955. Well, fast forward 7 years to 1962, and his Knoxville home is being demolished. Cormac McCarthy, who just so happened to live nearby, saw this as an opportunity to steal bricks from the construction site and build a hearth for his home. So, hey, at least he was resourceful,
100% autistic.
It's gonna get worse.
Oh, I'm getting bricks.
Yeah, I didn't even question it at this point, but I did question it later on.
Yeah, this is autistic uncle territory, 100%. What are you building? A hearth? You know how to build a hearth? Of course!
It's just a bunch of stones. I watch them all the time on YouTube how to build this shit. I don't know why.
Read the manual, fool!
Yeah, no, it kind of reminded me of Edward Abbey's dad, where it's just like, we need coal, it's winter, and so he just goes and just fucking like a dwarf goes into the fucking mines of abandoned mines and just digs coal out for the winter. There, now we're warm. And it's like, man, this is terrible living conditions. It's bad.
How did you know where to dig for the coal? Well, I'll tell you. Wait, no, never mind. Thank you for the coal.
Smelt the earth. Yeah, no, and every time that they had a new kid, he would just chop down trees to build a new room off of his house. It's resourceful. I don't know. Call it autistic all you want, but it's handy. In July of 1963, the fruitful marriage between Cormac and Lee would come to an end. I don't know if you were keeping tabs, but it lasted less than 2 years.
Less than 2 years with a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Spicy.
Oh, I know. You got to save that marriage early on.
They probably locked it down quick too.
Oh yeah.
What time are we at right now? We're in the 1900s still, right?
Yeah, 1963.
Oh, it's in 63.
How old did you think Cormac McCarthy was when he died? He died 6 months ago.
I don't fucking know. He was born in 1840 or some shit. Like
old people are.
No, he's scavenging bricks to make hearts. Okay, you're gonna have to forgive me for mixing up the time period here.
Well, you see, it had been a year since the couple made their move out of Chicago, with Cormac's intention to write as a full-time job. Yet that usually means you already have one novel under the belt, so you can collect royalties from it. And he was still no closer to finishing the one he'd started when he worked as a part-time mechanic in Chicago. As he would later say, quote, "I always knew that I didn't want to work."
Yeah.
Good quote. Yeah. Slap that on a fucking shirt. And he would abide by that philosophy for his entire fucking life, even before he'd become famous. So although Lee was doing all the cooking, all the cleaning, all the child rearing.
Whoa, but he wasn't working.
Well, Cormac simply asked if maybe, and I don't think that you're thinking too far ahead here, because and I get his point. If she got a day job as well, then he could focus a little bit more on the important stuff, without the distractions of her and the kid running around. Just fucking bring them with you. I'm trying to write in my stone hut. You know?
I'm trying to write, clearly.
Well, for some reason, Lee didn't get his point and instead opted to move to Wyoming with their kid and file for divorce. But finally, with all the distractions out of the house, Cormac McCarthy would begin writing his second novel.
Now that my wife and kid are gone, I can finally focus on what's important.
Yeah. Writing your second novel before he even had the first one written out and published. So
Cormac McCarthy, great writer. Shit dad. Absolutely dumpster dad.
No, I'm sure it was clear to Cormac McCarthy that his work ethic was going to make him a bit of a nomad. And by that, I do mean homeless. So he sought after a portable typewriter that he could take with him wherever he went. In 1963, he purchased an Olivetti Laterra 32 in Knoxville for $50, about $500 today, possibly the last of his cash. But he would use this same typewriter for the next 46 years, keeping maintenance on it by simply, quote, blowing out the dust with a service station hose.
Yeah, that's some solid Cormac McCarthy
Yeah, right?
shit. One goddamn typewriter that I maintained for 80 fucking years.
Yeah, no, if he was
In
like
a stone hut.
he was like, I Q-tipped away the dust. It's like, no, that.
You know how many N-words I've typed out with this bad boy?
That bitch is worn away.
Like, I call it Big N.
So anyway, 31-year-old.
He's just in a stone hut with a typewriter typing the N-word.
That's how. Hey, you can't make fun of him. That's how he made $1 million. Fuck. So now the 31-year-old Cormac McCarthy, he did end up finishing his first novel, saying when he handed in the manuscript into publishers Random House, he did so, quote, blindly.
So was he actually like on the street at one point, or was he like, you know, what they used to say, hidden homeless, where he's like kind of surfing around?
Yeah, flop house to flop house for the most part. It did sound like he was kind of hinting towards like, oh, I was out on the streets, but like probably with a car, you know, too, where like he wasn't on the streets. He was in a car on the streets.
I feel like he pulled from that time period for the road a little bit.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Yeah.
Well, he was probably a little out of it at this point, just doing what he could to not have to work when he handed in his manuscript, which means he was probably really unhealthy too. But either way, Cormac McCarthy's first novel, The Orchard Keeper, was released May 5th, 1965. Quote, for some time now, the road had been deserted, white in scorching heat. Oh, sorry. Fuck, I fucked it up. Fuck.
Dude, it's okay. It's okay. Hey. This isn't a serious big boy plus. You're allowed to be a little bitch boy right now. Actually, don't be a bitch boy. Continue. Why don't you just start over?
Okay.
Get one. You got it this time, buddy. You got it.
From the tip of the teeth to the... All right. I don't know how that thing goes.
Fuck up and read.
For some time now, the road had been deserted, white and scorching yet, though the sun was already reddening the western sky. He walked along slowly in the dust, stopping from time to time and bobbling on one foot like some squat, ungainly bird, while he examined the wad of tape coming through his shoe sole. He turned again. Far down the blazing strip of concrete, a small shapeless mass had emerged and was struggling toward him. It loomed steadily, weaving and grotesque like something seen through bad glass, gained briefly the form and solidity of a pickup truck, whipped past and receded into the same liquid shape by which it came. Good shit.
It's good shit.
Even from the very beginning.
I like it.
Like all of McCarthy's work, except maybe The Road and Stella Maris, The Orchard Keeper takes place in the South, particularly in Tennessee. We begin the novel with a man named Marion Silder, who, in good faith, picks up a hitchhiker with ill intent. The hitchhiker, a man by the name of Kenneth Ratner, attacks Marion with a tire iron first chance he gets, his plan simply to kill and rob him. But Marion gets the upper hand and ends up strangling Kenneth Ratner to death. Now the thing is, Marion is a bootlegger, and not wanting to attract attention, he dumps Kenneth Ratner's body on the edge of an apple orchard. While this would be quickly found under any other circumstance, there's a woodsman that lives on the edge of the property who finds the body, but also not wanting any trouble, elects to just cover it with dirt. The rule of the land, you know. Just like,
yeah.
I don't want cops either. Like,
oh man, that looks like a rotting pile of me minding my own fucking business. Let's.
It's gonna probably be good for the orchard.
Yeah, I don't want this heat.
Yeah.
Like,
Now, back at Kenneth Ratner's
Just put a
home,
note on him like, he tried to rob me. It's fine.
just a note around the neck. Don't know him. Now, back at Kenneth Ratner's home, the family comes to terms with the fact that Papa Ratner was probably killed since he hasn't shown up in a few days, and they know exactly what kind of work he was into. But rather than say, hey, that's show business, Mrs. Ratner makes her son John swear vengeance upon his father's killer, whoever that might be. Well, one night, Marion is near the scene of the crime, picking up his hand off of moonshine in the orchard with a couple of his dogs. But as he drives off, his piece of shit truck gives out on him, and he ends up crashing in a nearby stream. Now, John Ratner just so happens to be nearby, checking traps in the forest. When he hears the crash, he comes scrambling downstream to help. Now, of course, neither one of them recognizes each other. Why would they? Unfortunately, most of Marion's product is destroyed in the crash, but at least he and the dogs make it out safe. So Marion gives John one of his hunting dogs in gratitude, and John's just like, I ain't never had a dog before. How would I know how to hunt with one? So over the course of the next few weeks, Marion comes by to teach John how to hunt, basically becoming his new father figure. Eventually, cops find the wreckage of Marion's old truck in the river and start asking around about an obvious shine run gone wrong. Their easiest and most obvious suspect is someone who lives nearby, John Ratner. They know he's about the age of someone who'd start getting up to no good, and his father was known in town as an infamous piece of shit, so they try pinning the crime on him. Huh?
What age is that exactly?
Young. Teenager.
Oh, okay.
Think about the age that you were up to no good, but also a teenager, I should clarify.
Shush. I'm fine.
You're doing well. So, let's see. Yeah, but even though John knows exactly who the truck belongs to, he doesn't say nothing. But just a little while later, Marion Sidler's brand new piece of shit truck breaks down on him as well, and the cops are quick to find him with the product. He's sentenced to a few years in prison, while John, having now lost a second father figure, leaves his small community behind. He returns a few years later, but finds the place abandoned. Quote, they are gone now, fled, banished in death or exile, lost, undone. John Ratner has no one to look for and no one to return to. The end. Overall, The Orchard Keeper has the characters just come and go. There's no real danger present, right? Like, Marion is never even revealed to be Kenneth Ratner's killer. All the book did was show how shitty things can be in the South. And there's a genre for that. You remember what it is?
Was this the what's the lady's name again?
Flannery O'Connor.
Yeah.
Also Harper Lee.
Yeah, Harper Lee was what I was actually looking for there.
Okay. Southern Gothic. Mm-hmm. Now, we touched on the queen of Southern Gothic back in our first season, Flannery O'Connor. Now, we don't know if she had any influence on Cormac McCarthy specifically, but she did recently pass in 1964, less than a year before the book's release, and I would seriously doubt that Cormac McCarthy didn't at least end up reading A Good Man Is Hard to Find within the last 10 years it had been out. But even from his earliest work, there was a sort of trademark that would remain in all of McCarthy's books. He fucking hates punctuation, doesn't use quotation marks, rarely uses a comma, has even called the semicolon idiotic. In an interview he'd later...
It's pretty nice, really.
Like it for people like you.
It just flows a lot better.
It really does. I mean, to be honest, that's what I liked about like Jose Saramago too, is that when you read it without any punctuation, it kind of flows in the way of somebody just telling you the story. You know, like it's just one person speaking. It's the author.
Yeah.
And that's it. And
it's actually paced like realistically, and it's also just kind of like, it's like, no, come the fuck on. Like, no, you read through it. You read through Cormac McCarthy's dialogue and shit. It's like, you know damn well what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there's no reason to, like, nitpick and put all these fucking symbols. It's not...
Yeah, no, I know. It's true. In an interview...
Unless you're just trying to, like, get more pages out because you have a fucking,
Well...
like some kind of cat, like, minimum there. Like, I don't know. Like,
well, in an interview he'd later give, he said, quote, there's no reason to block up a page with marks if your writing is clear. Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was obvious who taught him this. Quote, James Joyce is a good model for punctuation. He keeps it to an absolute minimum. I mean, if you write properly, you shouldn't have to punctuate. This would be a trademark for McCarthy now until his death. Upon the book's release, critics were in love with Cormac McCarthy, not because he was writing like Cormac McCarthy, but because he was writing like the recently deceased William Faulkner. William Faulkner was one of the great American writers, author of The Sound and the Fury and As I Lay Dying, even received the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1949. But his recent death in 1962 left a huge gap in the literary community. No one was sure if someone like him would ever come around again. But now everyone was talking about how fresh it was to see someone willing to write like Faulkner again. The Orchard Keeper even won the William Faulkner Foundation Award in 1966. And yes, Faulkner was considered a Southern Gothic writer as well. But regardless of this low-end cult following among a few critics, McCarthy was still struggling to make ends meet. The Orchard Keeper was not selling like he'd hoped it was, and he was now more broke than he was before. He had actually moved to the French Quarter of New Orleans, but quickly found himself thrown in the streets. The rent at his apartment was $40 a month, but he wasn't able to cover it.
Ooh.
That's a little under $400 today.
Ooh, come on.
I know.
Come on. Go get some cans, man. Come on, dude.
Social Security checks a thing yet? I don't know. Get some cans,
get
dude.
Some cans, bro.
Get some fucking cans.
Get the cans. I don't know.
I could see him just fucking just mumbling under his breath 40 ounces to freedom.
Just
like
Sublime,
start
just
as he's just
God.
oh man.
Don't you
come on
dare
now.
reference Sublime in my fucking presence.
What, you don't like reggae?
You shut your honky ass up. No, I only listen to real reggae.
You gotta go. Yeah. Well, sadly, Cormac McCarthy would be forced to find a job.
Oh, doing what? What do we got?
Well, it was pretty much whatever small jobs McCarthy was able to hold down, and wherever he was allowed to sleep.
It seemed like bartending or something. I don't know.
It seems like he I'll work here and can I sleep on the floor?
Actually, you know what? He doesn't seem like one for customer service.
No. No, God, no.
Like, you want me to smile? That's not efficient.
It takes more muscles to frown. Oh, I guess I'm smiling now. Well, wherever he was gonna end up, he made sure to bring with him a single 100-watt light bulb. So no matter how desolate the place he was staying in was, there was usually a place for him to plug the light bulb in. So even if one wasn't provided, he would have a way to read. Meaning that, he would sometimes come to a room where they're like, well, the ceiling's dripping and there's not a light fixture for it. So that's okay. I got a light bulb.
We'll see about that.
Yeah. In the spring of 1965, at almost 33 years old, Cormac McCarthy published the last short story he'd ever write, called The Dark Waters, for the Sewanee Review. With the small check that came with it, and the little cash he'd gotten as an award from the American Academy of Arts and Letters for his book, McCarthy jumped on an ocean liner headed for Ireland. Because if you're going to die in poverty, why not do it on vacation?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the ocean liner was a sizable ship, and as such, it came with a full band. By the time the boat landed in England, Cormac McCarthy was hooking up with the singer of the orchestra, an English woman by the name of Anne Delisle. And by the next year in 1966, they were married. Luckily, just in time for the honeymoon, McCarthy was awarded for his novel yet again, and the money would take himself and Anne to the Spanish island of Ibiza.
Okay, hang on. Now, we both like this guy.
Yeah.
But let's be fair here. We don't want to be too biased. How old was Anne?
I don't think that I could actually find that. Otherwise, I would have put it in. Yeah, I don't think so.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I'm going to say around the same age.
If there's any fucking evidence of bastardness,
no.
We are going to discuss it here.
Although I will say, if you look at his old photo, just on the back of books and whatnot, hey, here's what the author looks like. He looks like Josh Brolin from No Country for Old Men. I'm almost certain they modeled that, his look after Cormac McCarthy himself. He's not a bad-looking dude, to be completely honest.
All right. I mean, that doesn't mean you...
No, it doesn't mean anything, but I just want to throw out there I'm hot for Cormac McCarthy.
You can be a good-looking dude and still be a creep and a bastard.
Yes. Okay, I know. I'm just... No, we know.
I want to be sure we're being fair here.
We all read Britney Spears' autobiography. We know what Justin Timberlake is like now, okay? We all know. We get it. Now, if you'll remember, Cormac McCarthy had been writing his second novel for about the last 4 years off and on, and had actually finished the first draft a couple years earlier while he was still living in New Orleans. But it was here in Ibiza that he would perfect it. And in 1968, the novel would be published by Random House yet again, called Outer Dark. And while the story begins with our two main characters together, the book eventually splits their chapters between following either the brother, named Kola, or his sister, Rinthi. They live alone in a shack out in Appalachia. And as you would know, being in close proximity with a sibling in the south results in the birth of their infant son.
Oh, gross, man. What the fuck?
Sorry, I had to. You're the only person I know that came from the mountains.
It's only like half of me. Dick.
No, there's a man who pulls a cart full of bullshit that shows up. A man they call the Tinker, who goes miles a day just looking for people to trade with. And it's his awkward interaction with Kola where you get the sense that maybe he's got a little shame about his son. Well, when the night comes, Kola steals the child away, walking miles away from their cabin, where he leaves the child in the wilderness to die alone.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was starting out strong for a Cormac McCarthy novel, I see.
No, it's just been a while since I've heard, a true Appalachia.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's how you make, it's how you make chitlins, you know?
That's how you deal with your incestuous child.
The next day, Rinthi, of course, asks, "Hey, Kola, where the fuck's our kid?" And Kola's just like, "Died. Damn shame. Damn shame." And of course she's suspicious, but she's also bedbound for weeks, and she knows that even when she's able to walk again, the kid will long be dead. But when the time comes, Rinthi asks Kola where he's buried the child, and he's like, "Why you want to know?" She says that if he just points out the spot, she can at the very least lay flowers on the grave.
Do they find some kind of, like, Appalachian, like, Mowgli?
Well, so Kola takes her to that would be a fantastic book. The Jungle Kid. Yeah. So Kola takes her to a random spot in the woods and just says, "Right here." And immediately Rinthi starts...
The temperate forest incest, baby.
Rinthi starts digging her hands into the dirt, revealing that there's nothing underneath. And Kola just starts yelling, "Now you done it! Now you done it!" And he just fucking takes off, believing his sister will call the authorities on him. So he just fucking leaves for elsewhere. Like, that's just how he's like, well, goodbye forever. Just, God damn it, and then just leaves. Walks off. Now, when it comes to Rinthi's part in the book, she goes town to town looking for two people, her brother and the Tinker, who she believes Kola may have given the child to. In fact, she's not completely wrong. The night that Kola left the child to die in the woods, the baby actually survived, and the next morning, the Tinker happened upon it. So the Tinker hikes for miles with this kid and delivers him to the most responsible place he knows, the whorehouse. As do I.
This is the only building I know.
Well, Rinthi never does see her brother again, although they often come across the same places, just on different days. But she does find the Tinker. Unfortunately for her, the Tinker believes the abandonment of the child was her doing and threatens to kill her if she doesn't leave him alone. So in the end, she just ends up empty-handed. But when it comes to Kola, his journey is a bit more biblical. Everywhere he turns, he's blamed for some crime. Stealing a pair of boots, desecrating graves, causing a stampede, whatever. But as he's chased off, there are always these three men in tow who show up just after the incident, typically killing the people Kola's met. On one occasion, he actually comes across the three men himself, who do nothing but feed him strange meat and rob him of his shoes. And that's how it's called. It's just strange meat. It's probably people.
Probably baby.
It could be. Well, not yet. But I do like that they're just feed him and take his fucking shoes.
Give me your shoes. Eat the meat. What? Eat the meat.
That's the Appalachian rules.
These are rules.
Give me your shoes. Eat this meat. At the end of the book, Kola comes across them again, but this time they're at a campfire on the bank of a river with the Tinker's dead body beside them and Kola's baby cooking in the fire. Yep. Helplessly, he's forced to watch as the men begin to eat it. Like I said, it's a Cormac McCarthy novel. You knew what it was going in.
I know. Look.
His next one you're really going to like. Now, we don't know if this whole episode is in Cola's mind or what. Because on one side, how the fuck would they have found the Tinker? And the Tinker didn't even have the baby. He gave it away to the brothel. So how'd they find that? But on the other end of things, this biblical, mystical nature of McCarthy's stories don't mean that these things aren't canon. We'll get to a novel of his that has the literal devil as a living, breathing man, after all. But in between the chapters that switch off between Rinthi to Cola, there are small fragments from the perspective of these three men as well. In fact, it's how the book opens. Quote, it's kind of a long quote, but it's dope, so I wanted to. They crested out on the bluff in the late afternoon sun with their shadows long on the sawgrass and burnt sedge, moving single file and slowly high above the river and with something of its own implacability, pausing and grouping for a moment and going on again, strung out in silhouette against the sun and then dropping under the crest of the hill into a fold of blue shadow, with a light touching them about the head in spurious sanctity, until they had gone on for such a time as saw the sun down altogether, and they moved in shadow altogether, which suited them very well. When they reached the river, it was full dark, and they made camp in a small fire across which their shapes moved in a nameless black ballet. They cooked whatever it was they had on them, in whatever crude vessels, and turned in to sleep, sprawled on the packed mud, full clothed, with their mouths gaped to the stars. Yeah. Outer Dark was, again, released to very little fanfare from the public, and even fewer people to review it. But the critics who did were all about it.
Oh, let's see what's in here. Oh my God. Like, dude.
And as you may notice, this work was darker than the novel that came before it. In fact, it was noted that maybe this Cormac McCarthy guy had a bleak outlook on humanity, that humans were kind of a sick, stupid race. Yet his books were on track to becoming darker with each release, especially in his next one. But you gotta remember, in the 5 years it took him to write this novel, his wife and son had left him, and he was practically homeless, so maybe he had a reason to be bleak. Now, while Outer Dark was still being
Cormac
published...
McCarthy, homeless edgelord.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah.
I get it, though. While Outer Dark was still being published, Cormac McCarthy and his wife, Anne, moved back to Tennessee, this time to Louisville, where they bought a derelict patch of land that came with a dairy barn. Although McCarthy would renovate much of the farmland, it seems like their dream of living this prairie lifestyle was kind of a pipe dream. As Anne would describe their living conditions as, quote, total poverty. They didn't even have running water. They had to bathe in a lake nearby. But as McCarthy's cult following grew stronger with the release of Outer Dark, it seemed they would have a way for him to earn a little extra income. But it meant talking to other people. And so he'd turn the offer down, no matter how much money was being thrown at him. This is what sparked my interest in that theory. Anne later remarked, quote, someone would call up and offer him $2,000, about 20 grand today, to come speak at a university about his books. And he would tell them that everything he had to say was there on the page, so he would eat beans for another week. That did it.
if he just showed up and just started like very monotonely reading the book.
Yeah, just from beginning to end.
Just like people are slowly shuffling out.
Who did that? Fuck, what's Andy Kaufman, the old comedian? He did that shit when people were like chattering too much during his stage shows and shit. He'd be like, if you guys don't behave, I'm going to read you The Great Gatsby. And they're just like, they would just be, whoa, yeah, then do it. And he's like, all right. And then he would just stand and he would read the entirety of The Great Gatsby at the audience and people would just file out and leave.
Like, see, we were going to have a good time tonight. Now I'm reading you The Great Gatsby.
Now it's even better. Well, instead, the McCarthys would have to rely on awards for his work and the money that usually came with it. Like when he received a Guggenheim Fellowship in 1969. That gave them enough to keep the dream going for at least a little while.
He made that up. That's not
I don't think he's the kind of man to fake having money all of a sudden.
Guggenheim what?
Guggenheim Fellowship.
That's not no.
You know the Guggenheim is a very famous family, right?
What the fuck? I've never heard that in my life. I've never heard of this gabagool family. Okay? Like I don't.
It'll instantly wire itself into your brain once you start making more money. That's how it's done.
What? Okay.
They're a very prestigious family. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Maybe they're all dead. Who cares, actually? They're rich. And it was at this dairy farm that Cormac McCarthy would write his third novel, Child of God. Supposedly, the main character is based on a real person, though who that person is unknown. During his 1992 interview, McCarthy was asked about his influence, but he refused to name names. Either way, he was assigned an editor by the name of Albert Erskine, who would work with him for the next 20 years. Although admittedly, McCarthy would work over his drafts over and over again before ever submitting them. So when he handed something in, it was pretty much the final product already.
Just picturing an interview with him going like, all right, man, so you're here. You've agreed to do an interview.
They are awkward.
You've traveled
They're so
here,
fucking awkward.
You've traveled here to see me, to do an interview, and so you're agreeing to answer questions.
No,
yes,
they
and
had
he'd
to
be
come
like,
to him.
And he'd be like, and he'd be like, yep. And they'd be like, okay, I have this question for you. Can you answer it? To be like, absolutely not. He'd be like, God damn it.
No, they're
Like,
so weird. They are so weird. And you know what? He'd run off on tangents, you know.
Is he talking about bricklaying?
Yeah, pretty fucking much. I'm not kidding. Every interview I read is just so unbearable because they're trying to get the page count, but they can't get anything out of this man. And then we ate more buttered toast for a while.
Have you ever made 40 pounds of churned butter? Riveting.
So anyway, released in 1973 from Random House, this is Child of God. The story takes place in the backwoods of Tennessee, with a man named Lester Ballard, described by the author as a child of God much like yourself. When Lester is evicted from his family farm, he grabs the rifle that he's had since he was a boy and starts squatting in abandoned homes throughout the area. With no job and nothing to do, Lester starts spying on couples, as the house he squats in is by a particular make-out point. Well, one day Lester walks by, where he finds a prostitute abandoned by the side of the road. He wakes her, and she starts yelling at him, accusing him of being the one that raped her. Now, this isn't true, of course, but Lester is a violent and stupid man, and not knowing how to vent his frustration, he tears off the woman's dress and runs away.
What?
That'll do it. But it's not long before...
I'm so confused!
Yeah, it's not long before he's found by the authorities, and he's put in jail for like 9 days. When he's eventually freed, Lester continues his life in the abandoned cabin he's come to call home. But one day, on his regular jaunt outside, he finds a car idling at Makeout Point with a couple dead teenagers in it. Probably a suicide pact. So, Lester rapes the dead girl's body, stuffs it in the attic of his abandoned home, and burns the whole place down.
Dude. Can you just... Seriously?
What?
Why?
Why what?
Is it necessary?
That he does it?
Okay, this is just shock value at this point.
I mean, how else are you going to rape a dead body, Caleb? You got to have a dead body, you know?
Did he write this book with just like a Cards Against Humanity deck? This shit is like...
Is this how fucking Mad Libs was made?
This is Edgelord Mad Libs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on, dude.
It's actually a very good fucking book. I will say
it's just fucking early 2000s lol random, but with brutality.
No, so here's the thing, though. The rest of the book follows Lester's growing crime spree. That is what it is about. It is about the serial killer. As he becomes a serial killer and necrophiliac, living in the interconnected caves below the Appalachian Mountains, where he preys on women, popping them in the back of the head with his childhood rifle, then dragging their bodies back to the caves where he can have sex with them till they're too rotten to do it any longer.
No, Jordan, sex is consensual. That is not the word you're looking for.
I had a joke, but I'm not going to go there.
All right, cool.
It really isn't long before Lester Ballard is pegged as a suspect, which is kind of unfair. The only reason he's a suspect is because of that earlier misunderstanding with the prostitute.
What about this one guy here that's his address is just caves? Hey, can we look into this, please?
Is that my brother? Yeah, my brother lives at caves. Oh, no, so is my cousin, though. Wait,
caves.
Are they the same person?
Should we check all the caves, guys? Oh, yes, the cave people.
Well, he also attacked a couple kids, and the boy got away as he watched Lester drag his dead girlfriend into the woods. I guess that would also do it. Mm-hmm. Well, either way, the county sheriff calls upon the local Whitecaps for help, the Ku Klux Klan. Now, you have to remember, especially in areas like this, the KKK were a respected group of vigilantes. Not like today.
Okay, so, Jordan, I really like how you had to explain to me there as if, like, my 2023 mind couldn't comprehend, like, law being enforced by racists.
Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I get the I get the concept, man. Like, it's all right. Like, let's go.
No, it's no, that really was like I just want to put out there.
Okay, what do you got? What do you got for me?
The look on your face as I said that.
I'm not excited about this, okay? Just tell me just do it. Just do what you're going to do. And remember that if you have to fucking edit something, that's your ass, because I don't know how to fucking do it. Have fun.
No, the KKK, especially nowadays, rightfully so, considered a terrorist organization. They keep to the dark as much as they have to. It's not like they want to, nor are they necessarily like not proud about being a part of it and just being infamous pieces of shit. But back in the day, they were like seen as like just a force of Batman, where they were like, oh, we can't do it because of the law. And they would just be very out in the open about everything. And they were basically just, you go on down to their local clubhouse that's on Main Street and say, need a black fella killed. And they're just like, we'll do it. You know,
they're like Batman. If you know, they're just like
Batman was racist.
They're like, yeah, Batman was racist, and also, so they're like, oh man, I must become what I fear most, a spooky ghost.
If Batman were racist, I want to see it. Frank Miller can make it.
We got some guys that are willing to be the law in this town, but oh boy, do they hate brown people. Like, that's not. Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I guess. You know, if he's doing the Southern Gothic thing, then I guess good on him for bringing up that used to be a fucking thing.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. It's a period piece, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he knows it's also edgy. I mean, he knows.
Okay.
He's not for the KKK.
Yeah.
But Lester is not caught by the Klan, nor the law. He ends up wanting his old family farm back and tries attacking the guy who now owns it. But Lester wakes up in the hospital with one arm missing and the other handcuffed to the bed. I guess while he had a rifle, the other guy had a shotgun. Just fucking blew his arm away.
Yeah.
Now, the whole area has been on the lookout for Lester, and while the police intend on going about things the legal way, a group of townspeople end up storming the hospital and breaking Lester out. Under the threat of hanging, for some reason not expecting this to be his fate anyway, Lester agrees to show them where he's kept the bodies. However, when he leads the mob through one of the mountain caves, Lester manages to find a crack in the wall and slip through to escape. You know, because he's all gangly and malnourished and shit.
Like, and man, yeah, I wouldn't have been able to fit here with both arms.
Oh, no, I can't. That's a good point. Yeah. The other ones are, I'm too much of a good old boy to be able to fit. Oh, no. Well, unfortunately, the regular healthy body boys like myself, they just can't pursue. And for 3 days, Lester wanders a part of the caves he's never been, unsure if he'll ever even make it out. But eventually, he finds light in the darkness and manages to climb his way out. The ending to Child of God is very brief.
Like the ending of The Descent.
Yeah, except he doesn't, well, depending on UK or US region. Actually, yes.
You know what? Yes, move on.
Yeah, because sometimes she makes it out and everything's hunky-dory and it wasn't all a dream. But anyway, the ending to Child of God is very brief. Lester Ballard feels close to death, so he just turns himself in at the county hospital where he was. Yet he never goes to trial. Instead, he's sent to a mental hospital where he soon dies. That same year, a farmer's tractor falls into a sinkhole on his property, and the story concludes with a Jeep trailing a flatbed where Lester's 7 victims have been found. Now, the book is treated almost as nonfiction, with a compendium of interviews telling of Lester's past like it's rumor. The townspeople talk about his mother's abandonment as a child and the suicide of his father, where a young Lester found him hanging in the barn, his eyes, quote, run out on stems like a crawfish and his tongue blacker than a chow dog's. But, but everyone speaks of these stories as if trying to explain why Lester is the way he is. When the book came out, a lot of people had trouble reviewing it, yet they couldn't deny how fucking good it was either. Beautiful prose, but probably one of McCarthy's least read, if only because of the subject matter. So like his other 2 novels, Child of God received a lot of praise from critics, but was not a financial success. Yet I feel like this book really cemented the quote-unquote McCarthy style. The people are sick, depraved, and deviant, and that's just the way the world is.
Like, there's absolutely no one to root for in this story.
No.
There's like people trying to track down a serial killer, and he's like, and they're the KKK, and you're like,
fucking exactly. Yeah, no, it's just, you're living in it. Sorry.
And they're like, one of them got him, and you're like, yay? You're like,
I'd give him a high five, but I'm kind of afraid where that hand's been. Just pulling it. Oh, how'd you get them calluses? Is it pulling on rope? It is, isn't it? Fuck.
Oh,
yeah. Now, in 1974, Cormac convinced Anne that they should move on down to El Paso, Texas, mostly for research on what he thought would be his next book. However, that particular novel was still 10 years away. But McCarthy felt this one would be his most important work yet, and as such, he wanted everything in it to be correct. The landscape, the atmosphere, hell, just because he knew the characters would speak Spanish, he started to learn Spanish himself. But like I said, it'd be another decade before this book would see the light, and until that time came, McCarthy would instead delve into the world of television. In 1974, a year after the release of Child of God, a man representing PBS by the name of Richard Pierce contacted Cormac McCarthy, asking if he'd be willing to write an episode.
What?
Yeah, right? Write an episode for a TV show called Visions. The premise was that PBS would get popular writers of the day to write made-for-TV movies, but when I looked it up, Cormac McCarthy was the only name I recognized. So while he wasn't yet quote-unquote popular by conventional standards, I don't think any of these other guys really were either. But Visions wouldn't even begin to air for another 2 years, so McCarthy and Pierce had plenty of time to work on the narrative. In 1975, both McCarthy and Pierce traveled the southern states in search of a story. What they wound up with was a screenplay McCarthy finished a year later, with the episode airing in 1977 titled The Gardener's Son.
Oh, God, what's in it?
It's a story of a kid who works on a plantation.
Let's fucking go. What do we got?
And he ends up losing his leg in an accident. He runs away, comes back 2 years later, only to find his mom dead in the plantation run by the owner's son. Both kids are kind of bastards, so the movie is just like their feud over the course of a couple days. It's actually a pretty good movie. It's available on YouTube. It was really good.
What's it called again?
The Gardener's Son.
All right.
But anyway, there's this one part that I love. I'm going to take my ring out so that you can get the sound in it. What? There's this part I love in the movie that I'm going to start doing. The plantation owner's son puts a coin on the table in front of a girl and he says, "How do you like to have that?" It was the creepiest fucking thing I'd ever heard.
Jesus fuck, bud. You're really excited about this. You want to put it on the soundboard or what? Like,
how do you like to have that?
Damn it, dude.
Anyway, the episode
At least it's toned down enough for fucking PBS.
Yeah,
for Christ's sake. So it's like...
Yeah, no, nothing happens. Like, that girl turns and walks out the door when he does that.
There's just going to be moments. I'm sure there's just moments in the movie where they're just like, by the way, this is fucking Cormac McCarthy. And you're like, oh, yeah, cool. I was having a good time. Can you not mention that again?
Yeah, it's got its fucking moments of just horrible surrealism you would not expect to see in 1977. Like, yeah. Anyway, the episode was so well received, it was nominated for 2 Emmys in 1977. And while it took Cormac McCarthy and Richard Pierce a year to research the story, we know next to nothing about where it came from. The plantation owner was a real person, has his own Wikipedia page and everything. But whether or not the feud between the two kids happened, I have no idea. All of McCarthy and Pierce's notes are held in the library at Texas State University, so maybe there's something there, but it seems like no one has ever bothered to check.
We at Caleb Kinreed cannot afford to just take a trip.
I'm not going to fucking Texas for that. No.
I mean, I don't feel like they check our fucking... I mean, what city is it in?
Texas University. I feel like that would be Houston or Dallas.
Oh yeah,
it's got to be in or El Paso.
Oh, how silly of me! It's in
Paso,
Texas.
Maybe. Yeah, it's in Texas. I don't know. One of the huge, ginormous places.
Is it in Austin? Should we Google this?
Austin? No. Who cares? Why?
You want to visit Austin and search the Texas Library for this information?
I looked up like the nearest states for us to drive to. It took me like 6 hours to get to Idaho. It's going to take forever to drive to Texas.
Just fly. Be kind of fun.
Fine. You want to do a Cormac McCarthy road trip?
Yeah, I want to do a Cormac McCarthy road trip, man. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, it sounds fucking sick, actually. We'll talk about this later.
Yeah. Let's look up what the strip club laws are. And if they're okay,
they're probably really boring.
They're probably pretty lame.
No, while McCarthy was still focused on his magnum opus, the one he moved 2 states over to complete. That book was still 8 years away. Instead, he finished a novel he'd started back in 1959, around the time he was still writing short stories, meaning it took him 20 years to write this. The book is somewhat of an autobiography, at least inspired by the things McCarthy had seen in the people he'd met while growing up in Knoxville. And honestly, as grim as the story is, it's also wildly funny at parts, so it kind of stands out among the rest of his work. It's also his longest novel at 471 pages. And while the people who first get into McCarthy may start with No Country for Old Men or The Road, it's often this book, Suttree, released in May of 1979, that's seen by his followers as their favorite work. Not mine in particular, but it's probably number 2, honestly. It's very fucking good. Suttree is the name of a man living on the Tennessee River, and his adventures have been likened by some as a doomed Huckleberry Finn. Throughout the novel, he gets arrested over and over again, meeting several convicts along the way.
Realistic Huckleberry Finn.
Yeah. One of which is a kid by the name of Gene, who says he was arrested for smashing a farmer's watermelon patch, but in reality, he was caught fucking him. It's a great scene, too, when he's caught. Because it's just this one farmer that's been finding his watermelons fucked night after night. And he gets his friend to help him stake out the farm at night. So when they hide on the edge of the patch, sure enough, they see Gene just show up and cut a hole in the watermelon and just start going at it. And the one farmer's like, is that him? And the other guy's like, I sure fucking hope so. Otherwise, there's 2 of them. I love that scene.
The fuck? This is why it's everybody's favorite.
It's funny. There's also this great part early in the book where Suttree gets news that the child he abandoned with his wife has died. And when he shows up to the property, the wife and him don't even say anything. They just take one look at each other and just start beating the shit out of one another in the yard. They just go, and they just like clash. But there are some very moving scenes in the book as well. Like when the funeral for his son happens, Suttree watches from afar, but when everyone's left, he takes a shovel from the gravediggers and takes it upon himself to bury his son alone. Either way, Suttree was a tremendous hit to critics, though it's perhaps the least recognized of McCarthy's works. The book sold
really
well.
Really glazed over that domestic abuse back there.
But it's funny because it's Southern and old, you know?
I suppose. I mean, look, you can say they both
I don't know when your parents did it. Was it funny or not?
Look, man, all I'm going to fucking say is you can say they both fought each other all you want, but only one of them was standing to fucking dig a grave.
She went to yeah, and then he killed her too.
I don't fucking know. Like, I'm just saying, like, it may have been a bit one-sided there.
Well, the book sold well enough for a McCarthy novel, but it was still small by any other standard. In 1981, 2 major life events happened for McCarthy. He won the MacArthur Fellowship, and he got divorced for a second time. Their marriage lasted 15 years, certainly better than his last one.
It was Anne, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the MacArthur Fellowship is a very prestigious award, one that was started that year in 1981, and McCarthy was one of the first 41 artists and scientists that earned it. As explained on the Foundation's website, quote, "The fellowship is not a reward for past accomplishments, but rather an investment in a person's originality, insight, and potential. So basically, we like what we see, so here's some money so you can do more." But what that meant to McCarthy specifically was that he didn't need a job. He was given the sum of $236,000. That's a little over $785,000 today. With the funds to do so, and no one left to tell him not to, Cormac McCarthy used the money to last him at least the next 4 years, as he went to the southwestern United States to further research the novel he'd been working on for around the last 5 or 6 years.
Ooh, here it comes.
And we know the MacArthur Fellowship grant helped him because in his next novel, his dedication is to the Lyndhurst Foundation, the John Simon Guggenheim Memorial Foundation, and the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation. Basically, anyone who's ever given me money. Now, McCarthy treated this novel different from his others.
I just want to name drop all these people before I start dropping ends. That's where we're getting to, right?
Yep, in a very healthy manner.
If we're researching, then that's 100% what we're getting into. Right?
Yeah.
And it is fucking good.
It is. Don't get me wrong.
But
I mean, hey, so is To Kill a Mockingbird and The Color Purple and a lot of other books.
But here we go.
Now, McCarthy treated this novel different from his others from the very beginning, and that work would show. There were times he would break out entire passages and have to take a break for weeks or months afterwards because nothing was as brilliant as what he laid down before. He once sent a letter to a friend in 1979 saying that he hadn't touched the book in 6 months out of sheer frustration. And for McCarthy, this was a huge change for him. His books up until this point had all been Southern Gothic, but this novel was a Western. Hell, from this point on, all of his books, besides the last two, they're all going to be Westerns, and I'm including No Country for Old Men and The Road in there as well. Now, shortly before his trip to the southwestern United States in 1981, Cormac McCarthy got his hands on a memoir called My Confession, The Recollections of a Rogue, by a man named Samuel Chamberlain. In it, Chamberlain describes his life as a scalper for 2 years in the 1800s under the tutelage of a man named John Joel Glanton. Glanton had an unbridled hatred for Indians, supposedly because his fiancée was scalped and killed by Apaches. But when it comes to stories of the Old West, I'd say take that with a grain of salt. He was probably just an asshole. Also, Glanton had a reputation for attacking people randomly, including police officers and civilians. In 1849...
They had us in the first half.
My poor wife. Hey, mister! Bang! In 1849, John Joel Glanton and a troop of his men were hired by Mexican authorities to kill off Apaches in the northern state of Chihuahua. And it was around this time that Samuel Chamberlain joined their ranks. But after the job was done, it's said that the government put a bounty on Glanton and his crew so they could renege on their deal. Either that, or they saw how often Glanton's men were walking into Mexican villages and just killing swaths of people, especially to take their scalps and just claim them as Apache. Eventually, Samuel Chamberlain and the Glanton gang settled on a spot of the Colorado River that's now called Yuma Crossing. Their idea was to camp near a ferry that was a highway for people coming back from the California Gold Rush. Is that my phone?
Yes, it is, motherfucker, and that's number 2.
How?
Bitch ass.
My bitch ass. All right. Well, let me start that over. Their idea was to camp near a ferry that was a highway for people coming back from the California Gold Rush. And, of course, would make for easy targets. But on April 23rd, 1850, a band of Yuma Indians ambushed the gang, scalping most of the men while few managed to get away, one of which being Samuel Chamberlain, the writer of this book. But one of the strangest accounts from Chamberlain's memoir came in the form of a man who rode with the company between 1849 and 1850. And this part is long, but it perfectly encapsulates the character McCarthy would later write. Quote, "The second in command, now left in charge of the camp, was a man of gigantic size who rejoiced in the name of Holden, called Judge Holden of Texas. Who or what he was no one knew, but a cooler, more blooded villain never went unhung. He stood 6'6" in his moccasins, had a large fleshy frame, a dull tallow-colored face destitute of hair and all expression, always cool and collected. But when a quarrel took place and blood shed, his hog-like eyes would gleam with the sullen ferocity worthy of the countenance of a fiend. Terrible stories were circulated in camp of horrid crimes committed by him when bearing another name in the Cherokee Nation in Texas. And before we left Fronteras, a little girl of 10 years was found in the chaparral, foully violated and murdered. The mark of a huge hand on her little throat pointed out him as the ravisher, as no other man had such a hand. But though all suspected, no one charged him with the crime. He was by far the best educated man in northern Mexico. He conversed with all in their own language, spoke in several Indian lingos. At a fandango would take the harp or the guitar from the hands of the musicians and charm all with his wonderful performance, and outwaltz any poblana of the ball. He was plumb center with a rifle or revolver, a daring horseman, acquainted with the nature of all the strange plants and their botanical names, great in geology and mineralogy, and short another admirable Crichton, and withal an arrant coward. Not but that he possessed enough courage to fight Indians and Mexicans or anyone else where he had the advantage in strength, skill, and weapons. But where the combat would be equal, he would avoid it if possible. I hated him at first sight, and he knew it, yet nothing could be more gentle and kind than his deportment towards me. He would often seek conversation with me, and speak of Massachusetts, and to my astonishment, I found he knew more about Boston than I did." So basically, this giant, hairless, pale man just comes in and starts scalping for 2 years, is the most violent offender among them, seems to have the world's knowledge at his fingertips, and then just leaves. And there is nothing besides...
Did you mention what book we're at right now?
No.
Okay.
He hasn't gotten to it yet, but...
Okay.
But this is my final paragraph, which is going to go into it anyway. Mm-hmm. Well, but besides this description that Chamberlain had written, there is no written record of a man going by the name of Judge Holden. He was like a ghost that came in, caused violence, and left the world changed wherever he went. Cormac McCarthy knew he could have free range with this character, and no matter how depraved he got, it would always be accurate to the person Judge Holden supposedly was. In 1985, Cormac McCarthy would finish his most infamous novel. Next episode, we will begin the bloody, horrifying saga of Blood Meridian, or The Evening Redness in the West.
Oh, yeah.
My sources today, The Orchard Keeper by Cormac McCarthy, first vintage international edition, says February 1993, but I know that's bullshit because it says Pulitzer Prize-winning author of The Road on the front, and that book didn't come out till 2006. Outer Dark by Cormac McCarthy, Picador 2011, Child of God by Cormac McCarthy, first vintage edition, again says June 1993, but mentions The Road on the cover, so that's bullshit again. The Gardener's Son, youtube.com. Suttree by Cormac McCarthy, first vintage international edition, 1992, in Wikipedia. It's going to be a long one, but
all right, man,
it's worth
cool.
it. You know?
I guess that's
I fucking love him. God bless him.
Yeah, this is probably going to be the most biased episode on Caleb Can't Read. Like, we're not really.
We've already called him autistic and cheap. I don't know. Bad father.
I mean, yeah. I
don't think that we're biased at all.
Yeah, we're really scraping the bottom of the bowl there for that shit, though. It's like, come on. Like,
well, that's the thing. We don't know much about his life to make fun of as far as anything else goes. I'm sure his ex-wives would love to have a chat about it, but, you know.
Yeah. Well.
Anyways. Yeah.
What you got? Got anything as an exit for the listeners and such?
Usually when we're doing episodes like 2 or 3 weeks apart, I'm hoping that we can actually finish this one out sooner rather than later, and then we'll just carry on to our regular selves.
I don't know. You guys should probably just like expect I don't know.
I don't know how it works on Spotify, but if there's some sort of bell and whistle thing that you could do that notifies you of the next episode, just fucking do that.
It's the subscribe button, man.
Okay.
It's the same as every other fucking platform, Jordan.
Hey, man, like and subscribe. Hit that, just strangle that bell, tap that subscribe button, and comment below.
I think that everybody knows that if they want to be notified, they can hit the subscribe button, Jordan. We are so far from getting any kind of monetary compensation for this. As a matter of fact, if you have any money and you're thinking, hey, I should give it to Caleb Can't Read, don't.
Yeah, we've actually got a page set up on our website for it. If you wanted to, no one's ever done it. That's okay.
No. What I'm getting at is if you have the disposable income to give it to Caleb Can't Read, we're fine. Don't.
Yeah, you can actually just give it to a homeless person. Please.
Donate it to some organization.
Yeah, take it to a strip club even.
We're doing go have fun. Yeah. Go get yourself a 6-pack.
Yeah.
We're fine.
Yeah, I really don't need it. I had to set up that page because Squarespace was like, well, you're paying enough for it. And so it's like, all right, fine.
I think it'll really just come down to like, if in the distant future, in 15 years, if we are ever given an ad, then it'll be like, yeah, hey man, go subscribe so you can have it adless or something. But I will
say this much, just throwing it out there. We don't have any ad sponsors or anything like that because we kind of would rather this be our own thing.
Yeah, we turned so many down, like.
But what I will say is this: if they're shut up. But what I will say is,
so Mountain Dew came to us and they were like, "Hey,
man, drink our shitty
new alcohol and give it a good review." But like, our integrity in our reviews is such that we turned them down and we were honest. So
yeah, honestly, I would say this though: if you have a company or shop or something, I would say locally in the Oregon area, and you want to do some sort of ad thing, then fucking. No, I mean, that's local. It's 1 of 50.